today, we'll be talking about one of the important topics, which is relating to integrations. So just like any other platform, PEGA also enables us or supports exchange with other applications. Because when I build an application, I cannot be sure that the entire data lies only in that application. No. Sometimes I might need to receive data from different sources. And sometimes I need to send data to different sources. So the exchange of data could be mandatory in order to have a safe, in order to have a good functioning of my application. I might need to exchange the data, of which the first one we will be talking about is services. Okay, so how do you expose your PEGA application as a service? Okay, let's assume some other external application is in need of your data. Okay, it will send you a request and you will give in all the data that is required. You will send it as a response. Right? So service is something where you are providing the data actually. Right? You have your business logic and you are trying to expose it to the external applications. Right? So let's see how you can expose your PEGA application as a service. So here we'll be talking about some new rule forms today. Right? Again, the core of which is going to be the activity itself. But we'll see how a service rule is created or what kind of service rules could be created. So we will talk about all of those things. So I think let's directly go ahead into the platform. Before that, I would like to show this. Yes. So look at this. So I told, right, we'll be talking about some new rule forms today. So basically what happens is your request is received. Probably the request could come from any other external application. The request is received. It is processed. And whatever the request parameters you have, like for example, you should send a customer data as a response. Okay? So what is required is the unique identifier for that customer. It could be a customer ID or something. Okay? So the customer ID is received. That customer ID is mapped onto your application's clipboard. Okay? It is taken from the request and it is mapped onto your clipboard. Once the data is on the clipboard, I can manipulate it using the activity, and we call it a service activity. Okay, so the service activity will do all the required business logic, probably of retrieving information or gathering, manipulating, whatever. And once your service activity is complete, my data is again on the clipboard. Correct? Now from this clipboard data, the data is moved into your response. Okay, so what happens is you are taking from the requester, map it to the clipboard, perform your business logic, put it back on the clipboard, map it to your response. Okay, taking the data, manipulating it, and putting it back. So this is what is happening. So on this context, let us see how we'll be able to, create a service out of our PEGA application. Let's build a scenario. Okay, so maybe let's take a scenario like the one I just said. Maybe we'll look at sharing some customer related information. Okay, so let's do this. I think I'll create a customer data type first, and you give me the customer ID. I'll give you the customer record. So my service is going to be that you give the customer ID. I'll give you the customer record. So I think before that, let's create a data type for customer. Okay, so let me just go into records. I would like to configure the data. Okay, let me add in the fields. I would like to have the CID, which is my customer ID. I let it be a text. Then I might have first name, last name, date of birth. Okay. Address. For now, I'll let it be a text. Okay, and you can have a lot more other fields. The risk value of the customer, the churn value, a lot of other things related to the customer. I think we'll have age also. Okay, and CID is going to be the primary key. Okay, so I'm just prepping up the data. Like, no unlocked rule set version again. What's with the version of the application? 101. Are there no open rule sets? Okay, let me give it to 0201. Okay, all right. So this I've got the database table, then I've got my mapping rule, the pages, all of it is available. Okay, good. Now let me add in some details here. And what is the logic that I'm looking at is you give me the customer ID, I'll give you the entire customer record. So this can be done using my activity, right? So this is going to be the core of your application. And now the ones that you create for your integration, be it your services or be it your other rules, so they have to invoke this service activity, right? So this is going to be the heart of it. So let me add in some records. Minus one more record. Okay. For example, this is my data. Let me save it. Now let's go ahead, create a service activity. Right? So the service activity should take the input, the CID, and it should give me the entire record of the customer. So that's what is expected. Okay. For that, let me create the page properties because I have to retrieve a record. So let me create a page property for retrieving the record, and let me create a single valued property for sending the input. So let me create a property. So one is going to be a single value property for CID. And the CID is it, we chose the type to be text, isn't it?
Yeah, we created CID as the text property.
Text, right? Yes. Okay. Fine. So here also I'll let the same name be. I'm using the CID. This is on the case layer. I'll let it be a text. Fine. Let me see. And for retrieving, I would like this to be on a page property. So let me create customer data. I'll let it be customer data. And I'm going to retrieve one single record of the customer at a time. So data dash custom. Okay. So now my input is going to be CID. My output is going to be customer data. So let us go ahead and create the activity which is doing this logic. So I'm going to name it service activity. Okay, so on the customer data, I created a single page property. So this is for the retrieving because I give you the CID, you have to give me the entire customer record, right? So this is going to be a single page property.
Okay.
Okay. After that, the
Yes.
core logic is being put inside the activity. I mean, I've just created a new activity, yet to write anything on it.
Okay.
Right. So what should I do is I should have, or you give me the customer ID and I should give you the customer data, right? So which method would I use for it? So just like your regular, when you have a lot of records on the table, I want to pick one specific record. How you do that? is you give me the unique identifier or a primary key of the record, and I can open it for you, right? So we would be using an obj open method. Okay, and when you use obj open, right? So which page are you opening, or what is the context that you see here? It is work dash recruitment. But I should open a record from customer data, not work dash recruit, right? From here. So for that, what would I do is I would use a step page for, to changing the context, isn't it? Let me go to pages and classes. Okay, let me define my page. This class is going to be, and why is it data dash customer? Because I am going to open a record from data dash customer. Now I can go back, save it. Okay, now if you save it, what is the property name that you're seeing? Is it data dash customer? Earlier it was work dash recruitment. Now once I changed the context to data dash candidate, data dash customer, I'm seeing these properties here. So let me give the CID. And what is this property? So what should it be mapped with? So this input, the CID, who is giving the CID? You are giving me the CID, right? So it has to be coming from the end user. So let me put it as primary dot. What is the context? It is work dash recruitment. So this CID is coming from the case layer. So that value is being mapped to the CID on the data layer. So to find that specific record. So now let us save it.
Why have we written primary dot?
Right. So primary is always representing your current scope, your work dash recruitment. Okay. So on the case layer, when you have it on the clipboard, it is from your work dash recruitment class, isn't it? So that's why we have given it as primary dot CID. Otherwise, the scope just becomes this. It is data dash customer. But I cannot refer something from the customer directly because I have to retrieve some information first. Right? So CID is being given to me. So that's why we took it as primary dot your CID. Got this?
Yes.
Both are CIDs only, but this is coming from your case layer and that is being mapped onto the data layer to open the record. Okay. Let me save it. Now, yes, I found the record OBJ. Good. So I'm pointing out to that specific record. Good. I think that is just my service activity, right? You give me the CID, I'll give you the entire customer record. So now the entire customer data is available on my page. But let us see. Let me just save it, and on the case layer, I'll give you a CID. That's not correct and false there. Let me put the CID in here. So this CID is ideally coming from the service request. But for now, in order to make sure the activity is working fine or not, I'm just adding one CID here. Okay, and one more thing in the meanwhile. So now my record of this CID, I mean my entire data, where is it in? My outcome of the service activity is where? It is on the step page, correct? It's on my page. Agreed?
Yes.
Or wait, let us just finish this. I'll run this once. Just load. Now I'll try to run the activity. It will ask me for a CID definitely. So CID here is the input. My output is on my page, which is a step page. Generally, step pages are considered temporary, right? They are like to change the context. They are more likely they are temporary. So what we do is, come on. I think I'll just open one more instance. Yeah, is it fine? Okay, I would like to run this once. Okay, maybe let's hold on to this for a moment. I'll just use this. Let's see if it is even retrieving any record or not. Okay, it says completed successfully. So I can look at the clipboard. And on which page you will have the data is my page. Okay, let's look at my page. Yeah, so here is my page. And yes, so I see the record corresponding to CID 101 is Virat Kohli, which means yes, my activity is fine. It is working as expected. So let me put it back to primary.cid. So this currently on the primary.cid, I don't have any value. So my page would be empty. Okay, right, good. But my expectation was that the outcome should be on this single page property called customer data. So what I would do is I would copy the data from my page onto my page property called that so-called customer data. So for that, let me just add in a step. So I would do a simple page copy where I'm copying data from my page onto employee data page property, or your customer data page property. The current context is my page into, where are you taking it? I want that to be part of customer data. Perfect. So let me just copy this. And this I'll put it back to CID. So what is my activity doing? It is taking the CID value and it is giving me the data onto my page, and that we are copying it onto a property called customer data, so that making sure everything is on the primary context. It's there on the clipboard. So yes, my activity is ready now. It is done, my service activity. Let's go ahead and we will create the service. Right? And in order to create a service, we are doing a service REST now. And in order to create that, we have certain prerequisites. Let us see. I think first we'll go ahead to create. We will have it under the integration services. And what are you going to create is a service REST. Okay. Now, once we look at this, we see there are certain prerequisites. Let's see what it is. Yes. So you can give the service name, but something else is also asked. What is the service package? So there is a service package that we can create, which holds related services can be put under a single service package. Just like your package in Java, I have a service package. Let me create that first. And you will have it under the resources category, because that's something that aids your services. Let me create a service package. I'll name it my package. So this is your service package where you can decide. I mean, there are different processing modes here, stateless and stateful. So depending upon things like how you would like to authenticate your service package, right? Or how would you like to send the data across? Depending upon multiple factors, we can decide this. For now, I'll let it be a stateless one. And in the authentication also, we have got multiple options, basic, OAuth, and a lot of other things as well. Okay. I mean, those are completely, different aspects. So I'll remove this authentication for now. And here comes your service access group. So are you looking at a specific access group who can run this service? If yes, you can give the access group, right? So who can run this service? So I think I'll just go ahead, look at this access group. HRS administrators over and over. Okay. Okay, so this means only people from this access group will be able to access the service. Okay. Now, currently, I don't have any service methods on this package because we have just created it. But once towards the session, what happens is, end of the session, I will have one service REST created under the service package. Okay, so this is what we are going to do now. What is my service package? Do I have my package? Yes. And what is the name of the service? As we are retrieving a customer, I think I'll name it get customer. Okay. Now, you can have a version also associated with your service. So this feature is something that's newly added from 8.1. Earlier, there were no service versions. Now you can get something like this. Okay. So once you give the service name, package, and the version, you can create a URI template. So what is this URI? It's a uniform resource identifier. We can build this looking at the parameters that you have on your template. Is it like, are you going to have some variables or static items? So what are you going to have? So for the build URI, let me just so on the URI component, we have two things. One is a variable and other is a literal. Okay. Okay, let me just use the literal here. So I'm not going to have any variables on the service request. Instead, I'm going to use a literal called retrieve customer. Okay, so let me put it this way. I have created a URI template for retrieve customer, and this is how the identifier looks like. And you don't have any applies to class for a service REST. So this is operated on your entire rule set. Let me create and open. We'll see what happens. So a new service REST rule would be created. Along with the service REST rule, there are a lot of other rules that are created. Okay, right. So this is your resource. I mean, this decides the scope of where is your service activity. Okay, so from this class is where your service activity is your invoked. What is the scope of your REST from which your service activity is invoked? So my service activity is under work-recruit, right? So let me use work-recruit. Okay, right? And then this is your service endpoint URL. So you will have the package name, the version, and then the URI label that we have given, right? The unique identifier. So that is your retrieve customer. So all of this combined together has given you the endpoint URL for your application. So let me just put it here. Let me just put it there for a moment. Now, I'm going to just save it once. I mean, there are a lot of other processing options and all. We will see that. But first, let's finish the major stuff. So my scope is defined, work-recruitment. But where should I define the activity? We can define it under the methods. So REST service would support all these methods for me. You can retrieve data, you can update data, you can delete data, you can put insert. I mean, multiple options are possible, right? But what is the context here is I'm retrieving data here. So depending upon the customer identifier, I am retrieving the customer record. So let me use the get method. Okay. Now, so what is the activity that you're going to use? Because this is the core. Yes. What is the activity? It's a service activity that I'm using. Good. But you should tell the system what is the request and what is the response. Okay. So here comes your query string. I mean, you don't need to bother about the headers and all for now. Just we need to look at the query string, because the data that is coming in your request has to be mapped with the clipboard data. Remember, so this is what we discussed, right? So step 2, what happens is I should map the request onto the clipboard. So onto the clipboard as in, is there a property for me on the clipboard which I can send to an activity? Yes, I have CID, right? So my input data or my request data has to be mapped with the CID, correct? So let me name the parameter. Here I can name it anything because this is the one that comes as an input. Okay, we can customer ID. And where are you mapping it to? To the clipboard. And any specific property that you have on the clipboard? Yes. So which value should I map it with? Any guesses?
Yes, CID.
Exactly. Yes. So what are you doing is something that's externally coming from out of your application, you're mapping it to the clipboard and onto CID. So from there, your service activity would run, it will open the record and it will put it in customer data. Right? Okay. Good. So input is fine. What about the output? I mean, the request is fine. What about the response? So where is your response? On what property do you have your response?
On customer data.
Correct, exactly. So let me add map from. So where is it? It is on the clipboard on customer data. One. It took a JSON. So I have different types of responses. So let's choose a JSON type. Retrieving customer data. So this is the outcome. Map from where? From the clipboard, and which property exactly? Customer data. So my service REST is now ready. Just get customer. Okay. So request is what? The thing that you're mapping it onto the clipboard is from CID. From CID, your service activity would start because you're passing in the CID, and it points out to the right record, and then that is copied onto customer data. Then control comes back and your response is mapped from your clipboard again. Okay, so let me save. Okay, so let me just save this once again. And can I run this? Yes. Can I? Let's see. I'm going to run it. Okay. Now you would be able to see the details here. What is being executed is this service REST. Okay. And the method, you see, it is get. And why do you get this query string values? Why do you see only CID here? Because of this. On the request, what I've mentioned is the CID. Okay. So if I would have mentioned it as customer identifier, I will see that when I run it. For example, customer identifier. So this is my query string parameter now. That is being mapped to the CID. And it's not necessary that they should have the same naming conventions, right? If I run it, what do I see? I see the customer identifier. What should I give? I'll give 102. Let's see if it executes. So 102 is corresponding to whom? I think Sachin Tendulkar. So the mapping, initializing of primary data was successful. Mapping of inbound data was good. Invoking service activity was good. Mapping outbound data was good. Yes. And what do you see? Record 102 related to Sachin. Yes, first name Sachin, last name Tendulkar, and rest of all the fields regarding with the create operator, date, time, the rest of the default fields are available. Along with that, yes, I see age. Yeah, so can I say using my service REST, I gave an input and accordingly I've got the entire record as an output. Yes. So is this clear? Were we able to retrieve an entire record of customer data using a service REST? Yes.
Yes.
So now if I go back, look at my service package. I would like to refresh this. Now I see so you see a method called service REST is invoked, and this is my, you see this is the package. Sorry, this is the service request that is associated with this package. So likewise, all related services, like as we talked about recruitment, right? So recruitment, onboarding, then resignation. So related service requests can go under one single service package. When you look at the App Explorer, so where is this created? I mean, can I see any class structure for it? Where is this
No.
created? No. So you don't see, right? It's not part of a specific class, but you get to see it within the specific rule set. Let me see it in the records. Sorry, under the services. So the service REST rule is created with respect to the rule set HRS and with version 02, 01, 01. Yes. Right. So this is your service REST. And if we are very specific that ideally the integration rules should be created under the integration rule set. Okay. So if you think, yes, that's a good option, maybe, yes, we can go ahead and create a service REST directly under the HRS int rule set. So we can even change that as well. So you can change the context and uh, you can have it as a part of the HRS int rule set. But why am I not seeing it currently is because of your operator profile. Okay. So it depends, like where you're going to create that is up to the the organization policy or the reusability, studying all those things. Okay.
Oh,
So
yes.
this, yeah. Any
Yeah.
question?
Yes. So can you go back to my package?
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
No, the side one.
You like to
Right
go to the
side one.
package. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the package one. Here,
Mm.
we are seeing in the methods, we are seeing in the resource path, it is retrieve customer, which was the name of our URI.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, so here in the resource path, why URI is coming? I mean, because we created it under, I think, my package, or I think I
Mm.
forgot service rest.
Okay. This one you're asking.
Huh.
Okay.
Where,
See,
where did we create the
things are
server?
there here. One is the no one is the endpoint URL, which is different. So this is going to be different, whereas your URI template is different. Okay? So if you observe, the name of the service REST is get customer, whereas name of the URI template is retrieve customer. So they are like two different things. And in the PEGA context, URI template is what we would be considering. And that's why you see in most of the packages, you will only see the resource path, not the actual name of the service room. You don't see get customer. Instead, you see retrieve customer here. Okay? But if you open it again, it will point to the service REST. So the most unique identifier is your URI.
Okay.
And that's why even in the packages also you see the same thing. You open any package, you would be able to see that. Service package. BRPC version. Okay, let's see this. So there are some SOAP services here, then something like alright. So you see the SOAP name is for SOAP you don't see any URIs that get BRPC. It is directly taking it from for the SOAP service you don't see any URI. Is there something from REST? I mean, in fact, you can give the same name to your URI and to the service also, but just that to make sure they are unique, we give different names for it. That's all. See, for most of it, this date. see this right here. Yeah. The service REST name is data objects, whereas URI template is data underscore objects. So generally it's more like just giving it a unique identifier kind of a thing. Nothing more than that. Yeah. So I mean, try doing this once again. So probably it will be a lot more clear. So try for 1 or 2 times, and then I think it should be easy. Just that the process is little longer, but I mean, content is not that hard. Just that you have to make sure you're mapping it to the right entities. That's all. So where is it being mapped to, and where is the response being mapped from? So these are two very important aspects. Okay.
Yes.
Okay then, 9. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good day.